Hello everyone, this is Sayed Majid Shobar, and in this video I will do a demonstration for the project 2, a presentation for the project 2 for the course CS 4020 Computing and Social Responsibility with Professor Dr. Lynne Gerwe. And my title is Cyberbullying Among University Students in Terms of Gender Differences. So I'm gonna do this research and this project based on cyberbullying in higher education level and regarding gender differences. First of all, I want to go over my website for this project. As you can see, this is the address of the website. So I'm going to do the presentation on PowerPoint slides, but I'm going to show you the website first, and then I'm going to go over the presentation here. So just by clicking here, this is the home and interest page. As you see, this is the title, my phone, email address, and my name. And there is a home and introduction, and then background, and then issues, as you can see, and results, and opinions, and summary. This is my references and my appendix. Also, I have some questionnaire papers that, if I can, I will show them to you in the end of the video. So I'm going to go to the presentation. So first of all, I have to mention, so information and communication technology in our daily life, especially in higher education, is very obvious right now. So it's very highlighted. So everything done is online. Everything is based on internet. Assignments, projects, presentation, everything mostly depends on the internet now. And by these new technologies, everyone is involved, especially in higher education's level. So I have a formal definition of cyberbullying that it says cyberbullying can be generally defined as willful and repeated harm inflicted through the use of computers, cell phones, and other electronic devices. We're going to use this definition to see how the students react to the question that how they define the cyberbullying in their opinion. Also, I intend to investigate cyberbullying in higher education in terms of differences and common factors between males and females vs cyberbullying. So go further to the introduction page. So in the introduction, as we know, internet use is increased due to technological advancement, and it is present now in our daily life. And maybe in every hour of our life we have the internet involved, and when we want to do something, mostly it involves internet in it. So and with that, new forms of cyberbullying emerged because of use of internet. So because of that, before that, the cyberbullying was only face to face. Now, because we have so many communication means, that apps and means that we can use, and most of them are on internet. So new forms of cyberbullying is emerged. And also, until now, most of studies regarding bullying is mainly about nursery, primary, and secondary school levels, and there wasn't much serious student studies. Sorry, there wasn't much serious student studies about higher education. So there is studies. I can't say there is no studies. There is studies, but they all focused on nursery, primary, and secondary school levels. So in higher education, they didn't care about it too much. But now we are seeing in higher education level more studies to emerge. So we're gonna go over that mostly. And also, youth and adults have benefited from the advancement of technology, and they are using it in their daily life, in their communication, sending emails, getting emails, sending messages, pictures, sharing things with others, and that's become very common between youth and adults now. Encouraging access to the and that so this advancement in technology increased the access to internet and mobile phones, and with mobile phones we can access the internet in every place, in every minute, in everywhere. So that's become possible now because of the advancement. Research shows that the gender differences exist, and that is in two parts maybe. We can say that the gender differences can be divided in two parts. One is being a cyberbully, and then being a victim of victimized of a cyberbullying. So that's the differences we can divide on based on this new level of cyberbullying that is on the internet, takes place on the internet. I'm going to go further, and to the introduction. As you can see, here are the first result of my research that my questionnaire that I have given to the students and get information back. As you can see, the first table show how much students are familiar with the formal definition of cyberbullying, which is mentioned in the first page. As I said, the formal definition of the cyberbullying. So in males, 10% were left the question blank. So they didn't answer even the question because I don't know, maybe they don't have any particular definition for cyberbullying. So 10% would know, and 17% was partial definition only. So like cyberbullying on social media, or they don't mention the definition of cyberbullying in whole definition. So they have a partial definition of that one, and 20% of them answered it completely, and they give a full definition of cyberbullying. So for the females, 0% was known, so everyone was answering this question, and 80% was partial answer, and complete answer was also 20%. So the partial answer of the females, we're gonna get to that later, but mostly they think that cyberbullying is only happening on social media, so like Facebook, WhatsApp, and other things. The definitions was more like that. The second table shows students' answers for the question, do you think cyberbullying exists in universities? Okay, so males 90% answered yes, and 10% only answered by no, and females was 100% yes, and they were approving that the cyberbullying is happening in the universities. And I think these stats shows that the females are more encountering this kind of cyberbullying maybe. Okay. For the background page, so my research suggests that females are more likely to be on the receiving end of cyberbullying than they are with traditional face-to-face bullying. So based on the study, 0% of females and 20% of females only admitted that they been subjected to cyberbullying, but 70% of females and 40% of males answered that they know someone that has been cyberbullied. Analysis of these statistics reveals that because I required the participants to write their names on the questionnaires, that maybe they didn't want to show their weaknesses. So they didn't say, okay, I was victimized by a cyberbullying or something. They didn't mention that. So everyone was, for the females, says no. But for the males, there were answers that, yes, I've been subjected to cyberbullies. But in other question, when I ask them that if you know someone that has been cyberbullied, the females answered with 70% yes, and the males answered with 40% only. So that means the females are more subjected and more encountering this kind of bullying in their daily lives. Also, because of the new communication means and new communication applications, new cyberbullying methods emerged, like sexting, morphing, virtual rape, and revenge porn are surfaced now, and they are used by cyberbullies to harass the victims. Um, Also, I have some fundings that you have the reference here. You can go to the reference and check more. So the previous studies of middle and high school students have found higher proportions of girls reporting that they have been victimized of cyberbullying. Females are also more likely to be perpetrators for cyberbullying, primarily targeting other females, sometimes within their friendship groups. So that shows that females also tend to more cyberbullying each other than males that tends to do cyberbullying other males. So we have three theoretical frameworks that may assist us in understanding cyberbullying at the university level. That is relational aggregations, deficit in affective and cognition empathy, and the power and control model. So in this page, I'm going to go for the definition of these three parts. And so the reader must be reading this text completely for these three parts to understand them. I'm going to go over the relational aggregation. The relational aggregation perspective is one that describes girls' bullying behavior as being more covert and secretive than is true for boys' bullying behavior. So that means that girls are more secretive about their cyberbullying activities. And because of that, maybe they answered my question by no, and they put their name also. The second thing is the affective and cognitive deficits. Perspective has been used to explain boys' involvement in assessing its applicability to adults. We should consider that women generally have higher scores on measures of empathy and greater ability with non-verbal skill. For example, identifying emotions and noticing paralinguistic cues such as changes in voice, in intonation, and facial differences. So in differences between genders, females are more paying attention to the changing tone, to the body language than males do. So that also will help us in this matter. A third perspective to consider when examining the dynamic of cyberbullying is the power and control model. This model is borrowed from the field of intimate partner violence, but may assist in understanding cyberbullying that occurs in the university context, where power imbalance exists between faculty and students, as well as between students in dating relationships and or between students of different ages and levels. So this is the definition of these three statements, and I'm going to continue now to the next page, and this will be the issues. So the researchers show that there are 9 known cyberbullying behaviors, which will be elaborated briefly one by one with their statistics from the surveys interviews. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is anonymous calls. Anonymous calls in these days, so in old days, it was a very common thing because the technology was not advanced. So we don't know who's calling us by the number. We just maybe know him by the voice, or he must introduce himself. But now we have caller IDs, we have the number of the caller, but still there are applications that make the caller, that give the ability to the caller to call anonymously. And that's the first thing that the researchers identify as anonymous call, as a cyberbullying act. So in the survey that we did shows that in terms of genders, 50% of male students and 60% of the female students consider this issue as a cyberbullying act. As the results show, female students are subjected to this kind of bullying more than males, because we have 60% of them says, yeah, we consider these anonymous calls as a cyberbullying act. And this is the first one. In the second one, sending spam mails or viruses. As we know, sending no need for definition now, because everyone is familiar with the spams and how they work and how they spread viruses. So it's a very cheap and very cost-effective medium for the companies to make advertisements for them. So it doesn't cost them anything, and also even fraction of them of the receivers buy the product, they make a lot of money for it. And so it involves not only sending mails, spam mails for commercial uses. It's uses for spreading viruses also, and some hackers are going to make hack some computers remotely, and they make them the zombie computers, and the zombie computers will send emails on behalf of them. So this issue is also known by the researchers as a second issue in cyberbullying act. But in the survey that we did, and we asked the students. So male students' approval response to the issue was 70%, and the female students were 80%. This indicates more worries about it among the female gender than the male gender, or that might be because of their lack of knowledge in how to protect their computers. You know, in a security aspects, maybe men's, because more involved in these kind of things, are more but they can say more experienced, and they know how to deal with this spam issue. But maybe the females are less informative about this, and they don't know how to deal with this issue, so they have more concern about this issue. Because of that, this is a higher level of approval that this is an cyberbullying act than males. The third issue, so let's imagine a man messaged his girlfriend a list of reasons why she was not worthy. Okay, imagine classmates accusing some of their friends of having a fat gut, bad breath, hating men, and etc. In one incident, a man sent a string of abusive texts to his girlfriend, calling the 21-year-old woman a stupid, dumb something, and threatening to leave to find better sex elsewhere. Minutes after receiving a message like this, the girlfriend jumped off a balcony to her death. The story is tragic and infuriating. But there is cyberbullying like that, and it's very, very common, and we have to admit about that. So the survey that we made, the interview statistics, reveals that female students responded with 100% approval of this issue against only 90% of male students. We must take in account that males and females have different mentalities, and an email might be considered cyberbullying by a female recipient and not by a male recipient. And that is because females are more emotional than males. Mostly females try to interpret a message from different angles, but boys do not do that. So because of that, there are 100% approval of the females that this issue is definitely a cyberbullying act. But for the males, no, it's only by 90%. The difference is not too much, but okay, even the 10% difference that shows here, maybe they are potential cyberbullies because they don't they don't accept this issue as a cyberbullying act. Fourth issue is spreading lies and rumors about someone else. So, take for example, if we have someone in our lives whom we don't like or who we hate. If that person's name comes up in a conversation, we may not say anything nice about that person. These days, unfortunately, lies and rumors are not confined within face-to-face only conversations. Okay, so in old days, when we were seeing each other, we can lie about someone else, we can say about something else, and the rumors was spreading face-to-face. Now, with technological advancement, there are way more efficient ways to do that, like using Facebook, using any social network or any mean that spreads something and use among others in rapidly. So now we can make a lie and even maybe attach some evidence, some fake evidence with it, and send it to everyone, and the rumors will go like fire between everyone. In just a minute, everyone will know this about the person that we said the lie about. But what we have to say, sometimes, and also spreading lies and rumors about someone else is way easier than before, and it has a snowball effect. So, like I'm saying, only a small lie and spread it in the social media, but everyone is seeing that lie, will make it bigger and bigger and add something to it and maybe share it between others also, and that interpretation from that lie maybe differs, and that makes it a snowball effect and make it bigger when it's spread more between the people. And boys agreed on this issue by 90%, but girls gave it 100% approval. And that's because maybe females are more talkative, and males tend to talk less, and females share more information with each other, but males tend to not to do that. So because of that, the females give 100% approval that spreading lies and rumors about someone else is a cyberbullying act, but the males only gave it 90%. The number 7 is sending online requests for sex intercourse. This is number 7, that is the researchers identified it as a cyberbullying act. So in definition of this, so it doesn't need any definition, it's very clear, but just to clarifying on this, almost people in the old days, when they want to send a message to someone, it was very limited means. So mail him something, or face to face, or maybe by telephone. It wasn't easy to send some nasty messages like this by only going and asking. Okay, and it was directional way. So if you're sending a mail, you have to give an address. If you're calling, you have to have the phone number. And even you don't know who's you calling, you can't call the people randomly. But now, almost we can say all people, or the majority, don't pay any attention to their privacy settings when they participating in a social media application, and they when they sign in. And so everyone can access the profile and many of their private information. So the people with a problem, when they want to send these messages, they can easily find their victims by these open profiles, and send them these messages. Also, they can make these people, these offenders, can make fake profiles, so they are hidden. Even if someone see their profile, they can catch them with nothing, because everything is fake on that profile. So they finding their victims easily, and sending them online request for a sex request, and it's easy for them right now. So the abusers can find their praise now is easily than before, way easily than before. 80% of male students considered this as a cyberbullying issue, against 90% of female students. So the males are saying 80% of them said this is a cyberbullying act, but for the females, the percentage was higher, and they were 90% of female students that say this is definitely a cyberbullying act. The interview results show that this difference comes from the fact that females are subjected more often to this kind of messages than males. Yeah, so if they responded that this is higher ratio of this is a cyberbullying act, that means the females are more victimized of this kind of cyberbullying, Number 8 is hacking someone's profile. So this is not an easy task, and not everyone can do this, but it has been done before, but it's not very common. When it becomes a cyberbullying act, okay, so usually hacking is not done by good intentions. So we want to add something to the persons that we hack, to add something that the person itself does not want to put on his profile or on his page. Okay, or we can add a lie, maybe that's not true even, but we want to add it to his profile, so he knows, so everyone when they go to his profile, see these lies about him. So in this case, it becomes a cyberbullying act. So hacking someone's profile by the intention of ruining his reputation, maybe, or putting false data on his website or on his profile, will be considered a cyberbullying act. Both genders agreed 100% that this is a cyberbullying issue. Number 9, harassing or threatening statements devoted to a partner in a romantic relationship. As we know, recent romantic relationships are not stable as they was before, and that's because of our way of life now, and also speed of life and stress of life that comes from the speed of the life. So everything now must be done fast. Everything is due fast. So you have to be on top of everything, and that's making life more stressful nightmare. So because of that, the broken up relationships are more than before. That's in my opinion. So this is and after so and in this relationship, when there is a relationships, there are some information, some pictures, some special pictures are exchanged between the two partners. But after breaking up, one of them, because of the harm that he gets from this breaking up, he wants to revenge, or she wants to revenge. So they will spread these special pictures or this special information about the partners in the social media or the internet or any means that they can do about that. Both males and female students agreeing 100% that this is a cyberbullying act and could be happen for both genders equally. And also, I'm giving an example for a recent example about broken intimate relationships. Refer to these links here that is showing in a few days back later for a senator that has done an act like that is harassing or threatening statements devoted to a partner. And this is the ninth and the last cyber act that the researchers are considering as a cyberbullying act. The next thing is the results. So I'm gonna read the result of the survey that I have ordered based on the survey. As the respondents as the response came in, it became apparent that gender would be an issue worth examining. The female students were more responded to take the survey than male students. That means that when I went to females to take the survey, most of them accept to take the survey very easily. So, but for the males, I have to ask more males to take the survey to complete the number that I want. But for the female students, that was easier because most of them are willing to participate in the survey. Survey respondents were also asked to respond to whether they would be willing to volunteer to participate in a focus group on solutions to the problems of cyberbullying. Approximately 80% of students volunteers were women. That means that from the different genders, males and female genders, when I ask them if they want to involve in a solution for the cyberbullying, 80% of the females said yes, but for the males that number was not high. Also, I wonder why women seem to have a greater interest in or willingness to engage with this topic than do men. Maybe they are because they are more subjected to this cyberbullying these days, and they are more sensitive, and because of that they tend more to be a part of solution than the men. In this survey, I did not consider people that having an alternative gender identity because it was difficult for me to find such people in such short notice. The data from the survey indicates that with very few exceptions, the male and female respondents have very similar profiles. In terms of their academic profile, 53% are seniors, 30% juniors, and 90% freshmen, and 1% graduate students, with a slightly higher representation of female lower division students and male upper division students. Also, the interview's data suggests that in case of the persons that have been cyberbullied before, 90% were being bullied by strangers and mean messages, and mostly they were females. So as you can see, we have a percentage that were cyberbullied in this survey, and they admitted that we have been cyberbullied. So 90% were being bullied by strangers, and they said they send us mean messages, and mostly were females. Also, the result shows that men have no effect or some minor stress as a result of being bullied. On the other hand, females replied to the question with stronger feelings like annoyed, negative, and shut down. Furthermore, only 30% of the male took some actions about the issues or talked with someone about it. This percentage is 60% for the female students. So the effect of cyberbullying on the students, on the female students, were stronger than male students. And also male students seems not caring about it, so they didn't share it with anyone or take any action about it. But the female students in higher percentage act about it and share it with someone or tell someone about it or report it to the university or some authorities. Also, in terms of taking any action, if the students see someone in act of doing cyberbullying, in the answer of this question, if you see anyone nearby that is doing a cyberbullying act, what is your reaction to that? They said, so 100% of male students responded with yes, but only 50% of female students answered this question as yes. To type, I mean, we asked them the question, okay, if you see someone that is doing cyberbullying and you see it, can you go and intervene this cyberbullying? So 100% of males say yes, but only 50% of females says yes, we're going to intervene. 20% of male students admitted that they cyberbullied someone in the last 1 month, and that is only 10% for the female students. So as we can see, as being an abuser or being someone that is doing the cyberbully, 20% of male students admitted that they cyberbullied someone in the last 12 months, but that was only 10% for the females. For the female students that answered yes, we admit that we did cyberbullying for someone in last 12 months. In terms of cyberbullying definition, near 80% of female limited the issue to social media only, and that was less than 10% for male students. So as mentioned before, 80% of the females gave partial definition for the definition of cyberbullying, and that 80%, we can say all of them was considering cyberbullying is only on the social medias, and they don't consider cyberbullying on other internet means. Okay, they only focused in their definition that is harassing someone in social media. As we can see, this shows that females are using social media more seriously and more often than males. In opinions, based on the resources that I investigate regarding cyberbullying, there is difference between males and females in terms of being a cyberbully in respect of the 9 issues which I mentioned in the issues section. However, I must admit that the gap is not huge and there is no lucid connection between being cyberbullied and the gender factor. On the other hand, there is an obvious correlation between being a victim of cyberbullying and gender factor. The reason behind that is the special psychology of each gender. The male gender think of themselves as a dominant and powerful gender, and they must not show any weaknesses at all, which makes them more tolerant about cyberbullying. Also add to that their unattractive physique to the opposite gender make them less vulnerable to cyberbullying. But the female genders consider themselves very delicate and sensitive, which make them more prone to harm when they encounter cyberbullying. Furthermore, their attractive physiques to the male gender make them more susceptible to cyberbullying. For the summary, so the survey findings demonstrate the pervasiveness of ICT in the life of university students. This starting point helps us to focus on the importance of the relationships and interactions that occur within this context. Well, over 20% of students respondents to this survey have been victims of cyberbullying in the past 12 months. These numbers are consequential and making a case for cyberbullying as a key issue within the higher education context, just as it has been at the lower levels. As we see, I conclude from this survey that there is cyberbullying going on, and it is very spread among the students, and we should take more consideration about this issue among students in higher level education. Also, I learned from this survey that the definition of cyberbullying is not complete between the university students, and most of them need to be taught what is cyberbullying and how they defend from themselves in terms of cyberbullying. So the definition of cyberbullying needs more elaboration among the university students. My challenges was to find the students to participate in the survey, because most of the students will not participate in the survey, and that was a problem. And also finding a right question for the survey to get good information and valuable information for the research paper and the project to get tangible results. So that's my challenges. And how you can help others? I can help others now by elaborating about the cyberbullying and how it's done, and how the 9 acts considered as cyberbullying, and make more elaboration for other students to understand if they are subjected to cyberbullying, because some of them are even doesn't conclude most of these 9 acts in their dictionary of cyberbullying. This is my references that I used for this survey. I'm gonna show you that the survey that I did. So okay, this is some surveys that I scanned to show you the results that I took from what. So as you can see, the questions, there were 11 questions in the survey. I scanned some of them. As you can see here, I'm going past to the old surveys. So this is samples of the surveys, not all of them, because I couldn't scan all of them. They will be not in one file. The problem was in the library's scanner. But that's all, and thank you for listening to this research paper.